What School Won't Tell You, Lesson 2. Hi guys! You have clearly noticed that climate change has been all the rage these past years. Not surprising when you look at the disastrous state of affairs in all countries worldwide. Why does this subject only just now command global attention? Could it be the younger generation's fear of the future? What actions are being taken to curb climate change? Climate summits, conferences, panel discussions and similar gatherings haven't provided any solutions to our problems. Climate conferences like the annual Austrian World Summit, which the actor and former governor of California, Arnold Schwarzenegger, has created, remain ineffective if no actions are put into effect.
We have shown that activism works. So I'm asking you to act.
We're just asking you to stop lying to the people about climate change and about pollution and to offer them solutions instead of shit.
What are those solutions though?
I was a politician one time. We made commitments. I said we're going to reduce greenhouse gases by 25%.
Laudable as this effort may be, it will remain pointless. Why? Over 100 million additional human beings are being born each year. These are additional humans in need of food, housing, transport, and all kinds of resources. Thus, we are confronted with an additional burden, vastly increasing all of our existing problems. If there's a plan, for instance, to decrease emissions by 25% within the next 5 years, then this climate goal will be futile by the time it is being put into effect. In the period of 5 years, another 500 million people will burden the planet. These people will require all kinds of resources, and they'll leave a massive ecological footprint, so the grand green goal has already become obsolete. Kids are protesting against climate change all over the world. However, they fail to realize the actual problem, which is the excessive overpopulation and its ravenous appetite for resources. Aside from young activists, many celebrities keep calling out the planet's dire state.
Climate change is real. It is happening right now. It is the most urgent threat facing our entire species.
We need to include nature in every corporate, state, and national climate goal. Put in place the plans, the timetables to meet those goals.
Beautiful words that fade quickly. No matter if people of public interest, students or politicians jump on the bandwagon of the trendy climate debate, they really haven't achieved anything yet. There are, however, a few well-renowned scientists who figured the core problem and keep calling it out.
We now realize that the disasters that continue increasingly to afflict the natural world have one element that connects them all: the unprecedented increase in the number of human beings on the planet.
For a long time it was considered politically incorrect to even mention it, and most of the big conservation organizations refused to mention it. But I always thought, you see what happens.
It gradually dawns on some reasonable people that the ever-growing consumption of raw materials and environmental pollution is tied to the fast-growing population. Thus, overpopulation is our first and foremost problem that needs to be tackled. Contrary to popular belief, Earth is way overpopulated with over 9 billion people. While the officially reported number may well be lower, it fails to include homeless people, those living off the grid, unknown tribes, etc. If we count those as well, we have already surpassed the alarming 9 billion mark. In an effort to save the climate, and thus the planet, this massive population needs to be reduced. Of course, this can only be achieved by humane methods like a global 7-year cessation of birth. This compulsory action needs to be implemented worldwide.
Unprecedented increase in the number of human beings on the planet.
Human population growth that's led to deforestation.
Understandably, many young people who want children will demand to know who will make them surrender their right to offspring. They do forget, however, that rights come with responsibility. Responsibility for all living beings and nature itself, which they choose to ignore all too often. That responsibility also includes their potential kids who are often born into a contaminated, messed up world against their will, where they must lead an inhuman existence. Parents failed to realize these unpleasant facts, or don't even care, for it's perfectly normal to have kids. Often children are being born out of immoral, self-serving motives. They often serve as status symbol for their parents, or they are exploited as cheap workforce or for retirement benefits in many countries of the world. The Swiss man, Billy Edward Albert Meier, has been calling out the burning problem of excessive overpopulation. For decades, time and again, he has warned governments the world over and predicted our current state. In our first lesson, we have reported on his contacts with extraterrestrial humans in great detail. The Pleiare Ptah has delivered a clear message for human beings on Earth on Tuesday, January 1st, 2019.
Unfortunately, it is the case that with the entire populace of Earth, and therewith also with all government leaders, that is to say, all the governments, as well as with all the scientists and so forth, their senselessness placed in the foreground is that every human being of Earth has the right to decide for themselves whether and how many offspring they shall procreate. Of course, this corresponds to a fundamental right of every human being of Earth. But this also brings with it the very great responsibility which each and every individual is obliged to follow and bear, that the environment and therewith the whole existence and the extensive life of the biodiversity of nature, fauna and flora, the climate and the planet Earth are not disadvantaged and are neither adversely affected nor destroyed.
Unfortunately, we are light years away from this perfect situation. The unimpeded population growth sends us down a death spiral from which there is no escape. Unless an immediate cessation of birth is being put into effect, the millions of additional Earthlings who mature into adulthood and leave their parents' home every year need housing, infrastructure, transport, and all kinds of goods which are provided at the expense of fertile land and cause additional millions of tons of carbon dioxide. Aside from poisonous vehicles, such as cars, machines of all sorts, trucks, ships, planes, motorsport vehicles, military transports, as well as cruise ships, the countless pesticides that are being used in farms, market gardens, and private gardens are a major destructive force for both nature and climate alike. These poisons do not just pose a major threat to the health of mankind, they eradicate insects on a large scale. Especially, the demise of bees has increased at an alarming rate in recent years. But there were no consequences. The EU has in fact even extended the permit for the use of glyphosate. It is beyond belief, and a poor habit caused by overpopulation, just how many tons of toxins companies actually create to protect vegetables. Corporations, the mentioned agricultural businesses, professional and private gardens, spread those toxins and don't just poison nature itself, but the health of us humans who consume said foods. Due to the ever-growing population, the food industry has little choice but pass on naturally grown provisions. Often chemical substances need to fill the void when natural resources cannot be put to use anymore, like it is the case with soft drinks, for example. Today, many basic materials, such as earth, are being replaced by chemical solutions, and it is therefore possible that tomatoes or cucumbers are entirely made up of chemicals. Just how healthy do you think that is? Ignorance regarding such production workflows and enjoyment of these toxic vegetables will inevitably lead to all kinds of diseases, both known and unknown. The media propagates the nonsense that such small amounts of toxins are negligible. This couldn't be further from the truth. In fact, even the smallest amount, be it a mere milligram or 1 microgram or yet even a nanogram, which is a billionth of a gram, is enough to trigger ailments of all sorts, with cancer being the most common and gravest disease. If one were to feed the planet's entire population properly, the plants alone would require an area of about 20 million square kilometers, which amounts to pretty much all of South America, the Ukraine and Spain put together. On top of that, another 31 million square kilometers, that's all of Africa and Germany, are required for the mere plants to feed animals, livestock that will be slaughtered and processed. Their meat provides human food, their furs are processed into leather, their bones are grinded to fertilize a meal, and their intestines are milled into tankage. So that means, in total, 51 million square kilometers are required to feed 9 billion people. Many countries, especially China, but also Germany, the Netherlands and Switzerland, have been offsetting their food production into foreign countries for decades, where they either rent or buy their land because their respective countries do not provide sufficient fertile grounds. This goes to show that the burning problem of overpopulation must not be ignored. Stupid excuses like, "we're gonna have to cut back," cannot be tolerated. For how far are we to cut back as population keeps growing? As we surrender to our progress, are we to be thrust back into the Dark Ages or into the Stone Age? No, the problem must be tackled at its core through an immediate cessation of birth. As Aldous Huxley has put it so well, this problem unsolved will render all other problems unsolvable. Despite the fact that the Western world is, contrary to popular belief, overpopulated, we can consider ourselves lucky to not share the predicament many people in Hong Kong find themselves in. There, the number of the so-called cage dwellers is on the rise at an alarming rate. These are people who can't afford housing in this overpriced city and have to spend their sad existence in coffin-like wire cells. These poor beings possess not enough to live, yet too much to die. Scenarios like this can soon become the rule in any city if nothing is done to combat overpopulation. The time has come for both economy and politics to realize these facts and finally act upon them. It remains to be seen if they'll heed the call or if it goes unheard as it has been since the 50s, when Billy Meier started to relentlessly point out these urgent problems. His Cassandra calls have been ignored, and now we face the exact problems he has been warning us about. Aside from the ever-intensifying natural disasters, there is little hope for global peace unless a reasonable birth control is put into effect, as the Pleiara Pittah has also explained on January 1st, 2019, during the 714th contact.
An excess of more than 529 million human beings on Earth brings rising and increasingly more severe problems with every individual planetary inhabitant that are not caused by the planet, nature, and fauna and flora and so forth, rather by humanity and the individual human beings themselves. In their entire mental development, the human beings are in all kinds of protracted, lifelong phases, as altogether are all life forms in the entire universe, which require the evolutive progress that must be arduously worked out by every individual human being. This difference in the state of development of life forms, in which case I therewith also consider the Earth humanity, inevitably leads to differences among them, while these can, however, be kept in an acceptable frame if there's not an excessive amount of human beings, but a low population yet is appropriate for the respective planet, which for Earth is to be calculated as 529 million as an ideal amount. However, any amount beyond that inevitably leads to the factors that impair every peace, every freedom, equity, joy, and self-control, and calls forth jealousy, perfidy, injuries, impairment of self-esteem, fear of loss, greed, belief, bondage, dependency and envy, strife and hatred, from which arises behavior that is above all might and force, and out of control of the good human nature, and which leads to killing and murder of one's own kind and to massacres, but ultimately also to extensive acts of war, destruction, and exterminations of entire peoples.
These wise words prove that the current overpopulation surpasses the perfect number for our planet more than 16 times, so there is no chance of global peace and existence in harmony, respectful of creation itself, if we don't choose to avert our final demise by means of a strict global cessation of birth. You'll find additional information in the description below. Be sure to subscribe to our channel for more interesting topics and hit the bell to stay informed about our latest videos. Until next time, when we reveal again what school won't tell you.